Yes everyone, thanks for tuning into another video. Pleasure as always. Before I get into it, any thoughts or comments, please leave down in the comment section, and if you get any value from the video, please feel free to like and subscribe. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I've learned, or what I learnt, I should say, from being on the carnivore diet. Now, I've strayed away from the carnivore diet recently just to experiment and see how adding other things into my diet makes me feel. But I was on a pretty strict carnivore diet, or I would say I should say animal based, for over a year and a half, and for about 2 to 3 months of that I was pretty strict carnivore diet. If you're asking why have I strayed away from it, I'm dealing with some inflammation. I think maybe eating all that meat could possibly be a contributor. And even though when I started, and for that 12 to 18 months it resolved my mental health issues, which is why I initially started the diet, just because something is the answer at one moment in time doesn't necessarily mean it always will be the answer. I think one should be flexible to change. You shouldn't be stuck in your ways, because life is forever moving. Your body changes, your mind changes, and I feel that it's very important that we learn to adapt. But being on the carnivore diet definitely taught me a few things in regards to society's relationship with food, which I'm going to go into. So number one, the first thing that being on the carnivore diet taught me is you really don't need to eat 3 meals a day. That's a complete myth. I typically only ate 1 meal a day. Sometimes I eat 2, and that was more than enough. And I found that by only eating 1 meal a day, I was more focused throughout the day. I saved time because I wasn't cooking as much and didn't have to do as many dishes either. And also I felt that my digestion was just a little bit better. So the myth of eating 3 meals a day, breakfast the most important meal of the day, just absolute nonsense. So that was the first thing that being on the carnivore diet taught me, is we don't need to eat 3 meals a day. The second thing is, it really taught me about my relationship to food, in terms of understanding when I'm craving something or when I'm actually hungry. I think too many people in today's day and age eat not because they're really hungry, but because they're bored, their addictions get triggered, or such as basically sugary snacks, right? Or they come under some sort of stress, because when you're only eating meat, the cravings don't really exist. You don't get that spike of sugar. It's a completely different feeling, and it's quite difficult for me to really explain in words unless you've experienced it. But it really made me realize that our relationship with food isn't healthy. And we eat not necessarily because we need to, or because we really need the energy, but because we're bored. And in my opinion, that's what's leading to so many problems in society, such as obesity, diabetes, to name a few. So being on the carnivore taught me that I wasn't always eating because I was hungry. I was eating because I was bored, or I was under stress, and because maybe I felt like I should. And when all I ate was meat, I'd eat until I was satisfied, and then that was it. And I definitely felt like it has given me a healthier relationship with food. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Number 3 is, you can live a life without energetic roller coasters. So what do I mean by that? So even though I'm introducing other things into my diet, I'll never eat pasta. And I really won't eat bread either. Reason being is, when I eat these things, I need to go to sleep. Or I feel tired. I get brain fog. I can't focus. And it doesn't need to be that. When I was eating carnivore, my energy was just sustained throughout the day. I didn't really ever feel like I needed to nap during the day. I felt pretty energized, and energetically stable. And that was what being on that diet really taught me as well. Now, I guess you would get the same results from being on a pretty strict ketogenic diet, because it's the same thing. Essentially, when you eat the carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes, and that's what makes you crash, from what I understand. So those are the three things that being on the carnivore diet taught me. Now, I wouldn't push a diet onto anyone, but if it's something you want to experiment with, maybe give it a go. But one thing I'll definitely say is just be mindful. I do think people that push this diet for the long term maybe need to be a little bit careful, because after starting the carnivore diet, I started getting some issues, a little bit of psoriasis, some stuff like that. After a year and a half, my body really felt inflamed. But I guess after only eating pretty much meat strictly, maybe some greens and things of that nature, and eating about 1 kilo a day, maybe that was to be expected. But anyway, so those are the three things that I learned from the carnivore diet, or being on the carnivore diet. And if you've got any thoughts or comments, like I said earlier, please feel free to leave in the comment section down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, peace.